What's up and welcome back. I'm John Stark from MacMovieGuy.com, your favorite blind film critic, and today, lean in, because we're going to take a close-up. Yeah. Or should I lean in? Should you lean in? I don't know. Technically, you don't control the camera. I'm not a camera. I'm inside the camera. I live inside a camera, in case that wasn't clear. I'm actually not a human. I'm trapped inside of YouTube. This is a new documentary that is at the Netflix, which is being distributed and for our consideration this awards season. It would like to be nominated for an Oscar, if possible, if you could lend it your ears. And it premiered at the Cannes Film Festival and then was acquired, and it's about Cy Hirsch, who is a renowned journalist, much like Woodward and Bernstein. He just didn't get that movie. So, I mean, if we're being honest, the average American knows only maybe some news, some journalists. They know the talking heads that are on TV. They're more likely to be able to tell you, Anderson Cooper or Sean Hannity, right? And like than the people who did the actual work and broke these stories. But Woodward and Bernstein had all the President's Men, so that kind of elevated them a little bit. Plus, the thing that they broke was also kind of big in and of itself. Hirsch has been involved in several stories throughout the years and has gotten certainly a lot of acclaim and a lot of also hate for his work. And this is him sort of exploring all of these things as he's an old man now, and is finally taking the opportunity to talk about all these different stories that he's been a part of and doors that he's blown wide open and all the cover-ups that he has. It's kind of a play on words because he ends up getting the cover story, or tries to anyway. Talks about the politics of being a journalist, how the Times never wanted to be beaten on an article, but also didn't want to be first. So it's a weird dynamic. Like there's some articles where they're like, no, we don't want to be the first one on this one. It's too political, too controversial. Let's let somebody else break it and let them take the heat and then we'll report on them. So, yeah, he definitely butted heads with people along the way. And I don't know, it's an interesting look at somebody who has worked a lot of their life to find the truth. And we sort of go behind the scenes and get to see some of their actual sources. There's at least one source that popped up here that used to be an anonymous source who comes in and talks about why they did what they did. And I like the movie. It doesn't have quite the same urgency as some of the other documentaries this year. So it makes me wonder how it's going to play, because it's more of a reminiscing on the past. And the past in a way where it's not like the documentary from last year where they sort of blew up, and I can't think of I love that documentary too. The Catholic Church and all where all the bodies were buried and all that kind of stuff for the Native American people. That documentary where it's like, oh my God, we did that? Like one of those things. It's just an exploration of somebody's history, which puts it sort of in an interesting place in the documentary race when you have World on Fire documentaries. We still have two wars, and we keep making films about them. So, at least, so there are plenty of, Gaza slash Ukraine documentaries to choose from. I don't know. I don't know where Cover Up will land. And with Netflix, they also have The Perfect Neighbor, which is already gaining traction. Cover Up hasn't gained the same level of traction early on, so it's not going to be their top priority. But I liked it. It does have audio description done by VSI. It's actually got this interesting thing where it has theatrical audio description written by Oliver Baker, and then it's edited by someone else who I'm assuming works for VSI because Oliver does not work for VSI. And it's narrated by Roy Samuelson, who also did not work for VSI. I mean, who does work for VSI but doesn't work for the same company Oliver works for. Anyway, this has been collaborated upon by different companies, people who work for different companies, and the level of intricacy on a documentary is interesting to me because, I feel like I would see this on a film that had maybe they had put it together and then they went back and cut it, or it changed a little bit, so they had to change the audio description because they re-edited some stuff like right before release because of feedback from fans, from test screenings, which feels like that happens way more with narrative features than it does documentaries that premiere at Cannes. So, um, I don't really, I wouldn't really have pegged this as being the documentary to dissect audio description upon, but I really hope to be able to do that. So, for this track, for the theatrical track, which is for the track that you will get to hear. This is Netflix's track now. I got an opportunity to pre-screen the film. Um, I thought it was complete. Like, I don't know what else it possibly could have done. There wasn't a time where I was like, oh no. I suppose the counterbalance to that would be um if there was something that was left out, right? And it was important, but I didn't know it. For example, I brought up the fact that they used one of his sources. So let's say they, uh, garbled out her face, grayed out her face, or did that thing where like they're in like deep shadow. Uh, you know, who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? This person knows because they're in deep shadow. If they'd done that, then I wouldn't have known. It's sort of presented in the way that person is sitting there talking to you, just like anybody else would be. Like they were willing to come on camera and be like, I don't need to be anonymous anymore. Maybe she doesn't need to be. Maybe, she's also up there in age and near the end of her life, and she's like, you know what? I want people to notice me. I'm going to be in this Netflix documentary. Damn it. So, but those are the kind of things where it's like, if I don't know that I'm missing it, then, and I don't know that it changed the way, because usually when they do that, they alter the voice because they don't want you to know who it is. They do the deep throat thing. Yeah, I helped. It came in and he'd asked me to come here. It's like a completely different modified voice. But from what I could tell, I think everything was here. I don't know what was edited. I don't know what they cut. Like, I don't know if the film itself was cut because I wasn't at Cannes. So I don't know what the edits are. I pitched an idea to someone to interview just the concept of an audio description editor, a script editor, the person who has to do that. It's like, why? Why did you have to do that? I'm so intrigued. Like, what was it about Cover Up that rocked your world, Netflix, and you were like, oh no, we'll release it, but not with this. We must edit this. I just don't know. I mean, it's possible that although I think the people who did the track probably did a solid job of it, it's possible that maybe they just wanted a more professional sounding track because you got Roy coming in here doing the narration, and he's someone who's used a lot on major projects. That's possible. They do work with VSI a lot. They don't work a lot with the other company. So, maybe that's the story behind it, but it's clever. It's it's interesting, and if huh the thing is that if you didn't cut anything, you don't need an editor. So if all you wanted was a different narrator, then you can credit the original script writer as is, and then give a new narrator. But what changes did you make and why? That's what I'm intrigued by, because I feel like I would see this on something else, something that maybe got an R rating, and then they went back and had to change it to a PG-13 rating, so they had to make cuts, right? But they'd already made the audio description track, and it involves some editing of the audio description as well. So then you have an editor. um, so that's that. I don't know. I like the Cover Up. I just don't know where it has a place in awards season. It's not my favorite documentary of the year because I've had a couple that have just sort of punched me in the face. And Cover Up is just a solid ass documentary. Cover Up is just like a thank you for your service. The work you have done here is excellent, and I appreciate you as a human being. And I think you definitely are one of the most exceptional journalists that we've had. And I'm glad that this film exists to have let us in on the scope at which all of those stories that this man has touched. It's just amazing because you remember some of the stories and you're like, wow, he was behind this. Because oftentimes, much like with the narration, we know the narrator, but we don't know all the people behind them that got them there to audio description narration. So Hirsch is somebody who ends up doing all the work, and it goes up to Dan Rather, right? And Dan Rather ends up reporting something on the news, but the whole catalyst for it was something that he worked on. That he was the one who ran down the sources and did all the work and had to double and triple check and everything to make sure that everything was what it was. So, yeah, I like this. I'm going to give it an 8.9 out of 10. I think it's going to lose out to some World on Fire documentaries, and the urgency of Perfect Neighbor feels a little bit more for Netflix. I think Cover Up will get shortlisted. I wonder if it'll make the final five. And I said that also recently about another documentary that I liked and reviewed, Put Your Soul on Your Hand and Walk, simply because I don't know which Gaza/Palestinian documentary they're going to choose, but I don't think we're going to have five of them. You know what I'm saying? I don't think all five of them are going to float to the top or whatever, but it does feel like it has made its way. Documentary branch has a lot of tough choices to make sure, because we have a lot of excellent documentaries, and I've seen most of them. So this is just one more, and I think you should check it out when it drops on Netflix. Anyway, thanks for watching, thanks for subscribing, and I will see you guys on the other side.